Hello students, good afternoon, welcome back. This is week 9 of our High English vocabulary. Before you watch this video, please print out the handout. Have a ink pen and a yellow highlighter ready and we'll get started. Students, I'm not sure why I didn't deliberately do this, but the words on today's handout are a little more challenging than those we've covered in the past. So brace yourself for a little greater difficulty than usual. Let's look at the first vocabulary word. It's a verb. Please repeat after me. Impart. Impart. One more time. Impart. Let's make it past tense. Imparted. Students, in my own mind, it means to give. Usually something intangible, something you can't touch. For example, knowledge, a story, history of your family, history of the nation, impart wisdom, impart knowledge. What do I have on your handout? To make information known, to communicate something. Now students, on your handout, I have underlined something. I want you to pay close attention to this, okay? To give or pass something on. Look at the example. All over the world, elders impart their traditions of their culture to young generations. For example, let's see here. It's a woman playing a traditional instrument. Students, I used to know the name of this and I completely forgot. It's very frustrating for me, but I want you to know that I did know the name of it and I'm drawing a blank right now. Anyway, these skills are imparted from one generation to another. This is not the best example, but I guess every year parents teach children or impart the skills of how to make traditional dishes, for example kimchi, and so on and so forth. Impart, what is this? Janhada? Judah? Impart, to give. Alright students, look at this next word. It's a noun, and this is not on your handout, but it is on mine. Please repeat after me. Archetype. One more time. Archetype. Students, take a look at my handout. Do you see that? 5 stars. It must be important. So students, on your handout, it's not mandatory, but it is my style. I'm sorry for the wind. I hope it's not making too much noise. Please put 5 stars by that word. It's a word I want you to know. Say it with me once more. Impart. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm still on the last vocabulary word. Archetype. Type. Let's put it all together. Archetype. Students, archetype means a perfect example of something. You don't have to know this, but the adjective is archetypal. The noun, which is on your handout, archetype. The ideal example of a particular type of person or thing. I have some synonyms. Again, guys, I apologize for the wind. I know sometimes that can make a lot of noise. Hopefully the breeze will die down. Some synonyms for archetype. Prime example. The standard or original. In Korean, Junhyang, archetype. Let's go to the next one. A verb, diminish. Together, please. Diminish. Diminish. This has to do with size and making less of something. To make smaller, to reduce in size. There's some good synonyms on your paper, guys. Lessen, decrease. And students, on your handout, I want you to underline this word. I know it's backwards on the screen, but dwindle. Please underline that and look that word up. If you understand dwindle, you'll understand diminish. It means to gradually make less and less of something. For example, with no money coming in and my daily expenses continuing to mount, just means increasing, my savings have diminished at an alarming rate. In Korean, I know this word, julda. Gamso dweda? Maybe julda is better. Anyway, study the translation. One more time, please. Diminish. My patience is diminishing. What does that mean? My patience is diminishing. Becoming less and less patient. All right, this next one is easy. It's a verb. Drench. Say it with me, please. Drench. Drench. Means to be completely wet. To soak through and through your clothing from head to toe, completely wet. A night of rain is enough to drench the field. So, drench the field, the grass is soaking wet. In Korean, humbek jan shida. Humbak jan shida. I'm sorry. I'll get it, guys. Humbak jakshida. There we go, finally. Let's see. See the rain coming down heavily. This is not a very good picture, but it's some children. Looks like they're playing in a sprinkler, or I'm not sure. But they look drenched to me. Their hair, their clothing, they're completely drenched. All right, guys. Let's go to the next one. This one is pretty easy. You may not be familiar with it, though. Ajar. Ajar. Students, ajar just means partly open. That's all I have, partly open. Students, whenever I hear the word ajar, this is what it looks like. The door. The door is ajar. You see that right here? Just not closed, not wide open, but just a little space. The door is ajar. Just means partly open. Students, whenever I hear the word ajar, I do think about doors, but it could be a window. See? The window is ajar. What does ajar mean? Partly open. This is not the best example, but could also be a gate. This is a little bit wide. I wish the gate was closed a little bit, but you could say the gate is ajar. Let's see here. Ajar. Yakgan yel lin. I'm not sure if my pronunciation's okay. Look at the example, students. That night, the children foolishly left the back gate ajar and their pet dog escaped. They left the back gate ajar. What does that mean? The back gate was ajar. Right. The back gate was partly open. And I have a funny one, the second example. Because the front door was ajar, the cat strolled into the living room. So the front door was partly open, the cat came inside. All right, let's look at the next one. It's a noun. Please repeat after me. Wrath. Wrath just means intense anger. Vengeance or punishment as the consequence of anger. And students, please look at your handout here. Notice I I don't know how well you can see that. I underline this. Please give attention to that portion of the definition. Punishment as the consequence of anger. For example, I remember well how often during my childhood I felt the full force of my parents' wrath when I had done something wrong. I experienced my parents' anger whenever I broke the rule. In Korean? Bunno? Noya wum? Noya wum? Look over on the next page, please. What does wrath mean? Intense anger. This next one is an adjective. I like this word. Please repeat after me. Dogmatic. Again, dogmatic. One more time. Dogmatic. Students, the word dogmatic has nothing to do with dogs. I just brought that picture for fun. Look at your handout, guys. Dogmatic, again, an adjective expressing your personal opinions or beliefs as if they are certainly correct and cannot be doubted. And students, do you have your highlighter? I want you to highlight this line. Do you see where I am? Please hit pause and highlight that. It's not in focus, is it? If you are dogmatic, you are certain you are right and that everyone else is wrong. Dogmatic, in my own mind, has a negative connotation. For example, the preacher. The preacher was a dogmatic individual who was quick to argue with anyone who challenged his opinion. In Korean, dokdanjokin? Dokdanjokin? Dogmatic? Frankly speaking, guys, I don't like to be around people who are dogmatic. Let's see here. I don't want to get in trouble, guys. I'm not a citizen of Korea, but some students told me that Hung Jun-pyo. Some students say that this presidential candidate is dogmatic. I remember when I first came to Korea in 2007, Lee Myung-bak was the mayor of Seoul and would soon become president. I heard he is dogmatic. His nickname in English is the Bulldozer. Did you know that? The Bulldozer, because he pushes through policies that maybe not everyone agrees with. Students, I'm not picking on Korea. I have something much worse in my own country. Trump. Trump is dogmatic. There's no doubt about it. Disgusting. There's going to be a presidential election in November. I hope he loses. Trump is dogmatic. Just a reminder, students, dogmatic, you express your personal beliefs, your personal opinions, as if they were fact. You are right, everyone else is wrong. That is being dogmatic. Again, has a negative connotation in my mind. Okay guys, a couple more and we'll be finished. This next one is probably the hardest out of all of them. Students, look again, 5 stars. It must be important. Please put 5 stars by the word transcend. It's a verb. Please repeat after me. Transcend. Once more, please. Transcend. Transcend. Transcend, guys, means to rise above or beyond, to go beyond the range or limits of a field or activity. Look at the second definition, guys. To pass beyond the limits of a category. For example, guys, this is on your handout. The best films are those which transcend, go above and beyond. The best films are those which transcend national or cultural barriers. For example, sorry about the wind, guys. Hopefully it's not making too much painful noise. Have you guys seen the movie Parasite? I have not, but it's won a lot of awards and it's transcended just the domestic film industry, and it's made a connection with people all around the world. I'm trying to think of another example. Have you ever heard of the movie Old Boy? That's another movie that has transcended language. Sometimes paintings or music can also transcend their barriers and reach a broader audience. What is that in Korean? Jo Wal Hara. Students, please study that. Jo Wal Hara. I want you to know that word, transcend. Okay, last one, guys. It's an adjective, quite easy. Together, please. Compatible. Compatible. Whenever I hear the word compatible, I do think about people. So it's a man and a woman. They are emotionally, intellectually, perhaps spiritually compatible. They get along well. Again, when I hear the word compatible, that is the image that comes to my mind, but it could be something else. Check the definition. Able to get along or work well together. So it doesn't necessarily have to be romantic in nature. Capable of use with some other model or system. For example, guys, and I want you to pay close attention to the examples. This software, we're not talking about people, the software may not be compatible with older operating systems. In other words, incompatible, not compatible. Let's see here. Look at the third example. Such policies are not compatible with a democratic government. Again, we're not talking about people, but policies and form of government. Compatible, incompatible. All right. That's it for today. I want to review with you. We went through those a little bit quickly. Students, do you know where I am? Do you recognize the building behind me? It looks like Harry Potter, but actually I'm in Gyeonggi-land, and my only regret is that we're not all together. It's really a beautiful campus. Don't tell anyone I'm doing our lecture at another university, but there's some benches here, and it's just very attractive. Okay, enough about that. Let's see here. Students, I will give you the definition. Please tell me the High English vocabulary. I think this one is easy. To make information known. History, stories, maybe a skill. To make information known, to communicate, this is very important. To give, to pass something on. Do you remember? Janhara or Judah? What's that word? Impart. Students, don't look at your paper. I want you to just test your memory right now. Okay. The definition is quite easy. The word will almost certainly be unfamiliar to you. A perfect example of a person or thing. It's a noun. Archetype. Oh, I gave away the answer. archetype. Rats. Junhyun? Okay. This one's very easy. To be completely wet, soaked, through and through, wet from head to toe. Do you remember? Drench. To be drenched. Sometimes I forget to bring my umbrella and I have to walk home in the rain. By the time I get to my apartment, I'm drenched. It's a good word. Okay, so easy. The definition? Partly open. The door is partly open. Ajar. Do you remember? The window is ajar. The gate is ajar. Okay guys, so easy. I'll show you the picture. Please tell me the word. Dog, what? Dogmatic. Dogmatic, does that have a positive or negative connotation? Negative. What does dogmatic mean? Expressing your personal beliefs, your personal opinions, as if they were fact. Can you think of anyone who is dogmatic? Hopefully you don't spend a lot of time around dogmatic people. This guy makes me stressed just looking at his picture. Dogmatic. And the last one, students. What is it? Compatible. This is probably the hardest word today. I'll give you the Korean. Please tell me the English translation. Jowalhada. Don't look at your paper. Jowalhada. Transcend. To pass beyond the limits of a particular category or field. Students, 5 stars. I want you to know that word. What about, I'll give you the definition, you tell me the word. Intense anger. Punishment as the consequence of anger. Do you remember? Wrath. Wrath. Intense anger. Good. Alright guys, I guess we'll stop here for the day. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Students, if you have any questions anytime, please don't be shy to send me an email. I value your feedback. I want to make the best videos I can, so if you have any suggestions, I would love to hear from you. Well, until the next time, goodbye.